Hey there folks, this is David on David's Brain. Welcome back to our ongoing Let's Play of Disco Elysium for the PS4. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, and contribute to my Patreon. Links in the description at the bottom. Alright, let's see. Last time, let's see, let me see. Yeah, we got ourselves in the front door with, let's see, what was his name again? Let me see. What was his name again? You know, tons of fun back there. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways, basically, we let's. Oh yeah, we tracked down Everard Clare, and yeah. Yeah, the guy is skeevy as all hell. He seems to be the one. Yeah, he seems to have a finger in every single pie in Revachol. So, yeah, we may have to go and do some work for him. But yeah, in regards to getting our gun back. But first things first, let's see if we got ourselves a potential witness here.
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you for a while.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
No trouble for me. No trouble for me. I just want to know what's going on here.
I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie, if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
It's the god of cigarettes and youth. Ask him if he's got anything to spare.
No.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
All right, let's see. Yeah, he's not gonna. Let's see, gendarmerie, whatever that is. All right. Can I? Actually, the gendarmerie really needs to talk to you.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at the neighboring windows.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run.
All right. Looks like you got a good view of the Warling's backyard. Could you tell me anything about the hanging? I'd even go so far as to say that the view is a little too good, my dear gendarmerie. Do you have an estimate of when the body will be taken away?
We will remove the body as soon as possible. Now tell us, where were you last Sunday?
Oh, you already asked me that, didn't you? Did I? No, not you. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look. He looks around the courtyard again. Snow blankets the old patio chairs and dead houseplants, and all the neighboring windows are black.
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
I had a friend over. What kind of a friend? It was my Sunday friend.
A Sunday friend? How intriguing.
What's your friend's real name? Did you see anything?
He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. Under the dull and darkening sky, the neighboring windows stand silent. Someone hides behind a curtain. Those windows have eyes, and those eyes are watching, spying on you three.
Can you at least tell me your name? My name is Martin Martinet.
Martin Martinez? Good local name. Let's go with that.
I really need to go and boost rhetoric. Alright, we'll talk later then. No, we won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going. Okay, red check. He knows something.
This isn't the place or time for questions. Who knows who might be watching from the distance, hidden behind the curtains?
Hey, listen. I'm just trying to make things okay again. Can we meet again somewhere else?
For a moment, the man on the balcony seems almost vulnerable. Something moves in the depths of his feline eyes. Compassion and a hint of understanding. There's snow gathering on his hair and on his shoulders. A speckle of white against the purple that hangs loose on his slender frame.
When he speaks again, his voice is soft and deliberate. I'm sorry, but I really don't have the information you're looking for. With a flick of his wrist, he sends the cigarette butt sailing over the rail.
But, hold on, what's that? For a split second, his hand lingers, as though gesturing towards a stone placed right next to the front door. It's a sign.
Good luck with the investigation. Alright, the smoker on the balcony.
He's gone.
We should run after him and see where he went.
No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself.
So we just give up?
He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type who's asking about our case. He did leave us a sign. Did you see that? He wanted to draw our attention to that stone right over there.
Yeah, if anything, it might be a
If we
key.
find a way inside the building, we can ask around for his apartment.
Great, let's do that.
A stone like any other, lying in a whirl of sleet and mud. Maybe there's something under it. There's a key beneath it, rusty from the dirt.
This must be for the front door. Pity doesn't have the apartment number on it. This building has many apartments, and the man can be in any of them.
How are we going to find the right one?
We'll just have to go in and see.
Oh, no other choice then. Let's see here. Smoker on the balcony. We'll probably get to him later. Probably do it when it's. Probably better to do it when it's day. When there's daylight out. Less chance of them getting a drop on me. But in the meantime, let's go and stop by the kitchen and see if we can get ourselves some borscht. Cape Side Apartments. Rue de Saint Celestine. Roundabout north. Ooh, a blue naval coat. Let's see. +1 to suggestion. Aye, Captain. -1 to half-light. Officerial poise. This classic double-breasted coat suits everything, including you. If you ever find yourself battling winds at the helm of a ship, then the coat's heavy fabric has got your back, even if moths have left a few holes in it. There's a girl up there. Did she spill the paint? Inside, the frame of a motorcycle in repair, and the tools used to disassemble it. Looks like there was more construction here once, decades ago. Donkey Reserve for residents of Rue de Saint Celestine 33A. Your room in the world, I guess, is much bigger than this, Snoop. This is worth more than you'll ever earn in all your life. A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat. Joyce Messier. Good evening,
officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Joyce L. What does the L stand for?
Mitten, my maiden name.
What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Fine. Hi there.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will. Gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Alright, well, tell me about Wild Pines. What exactly is it that you do?
What we do? I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
So, what did they do?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo tribes. Companies were awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo tribes remain. Who are the other Indo tribes? Saint Baptiste Eluem, an unknown entity known as the Brightest Star. You're in good company, it seems.
Why, thank you.
How much money does Wild Pines have?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
A billion? Wow. That's it? I thought Wild Pines was supposed to be big time. Wow.
20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
Where does Wild Pines get all these
It
billions?
started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
It probably helps to start out with a royal monopoly.
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
What does such a large system want with a place like this?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
Let's see. 8% of all the cargo in the world. Quite the endeavor indeed.
There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tongue.
Oh, well, you know, somebody who actually cares about the employees underneath them. That's good to know. Well, I mean, this company does. I mean, the Lich definitely would affect their bottom line, which would in turn affect their employees. So, nice bit of gray. You're on a boat.
Why, yes I am.
Let's see. Does she have a name?
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
Okay, but what kind of boat is it?
It's a pleasure craft. A 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
How do you like it?
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
Ah.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Okay, I'm getting back on track.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Not a lot of people on boats are. Not a lot of people here on boats, are there?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Wait, we're on an archipelago?
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Le Caillou? I thought we were here in Revachol.
We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou.
Still, I haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Touché.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
Do you have a license for this boat?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Qualified pleasure craft operator. So charming. Where's the damn license?
Can I see your license?
I just renewed its safety inspection last month, officers. It is completely seaworthy. In fact, it's taken part in not one, but two Insulindic regattas. Even finished once.
What happened to the other time?
The other time, I would have finished the race were it not for an urgent work matter, much like the one I'm on now.
Still need to see a license, ma'am.
Actually, you don't.
What do you mean?
The Wayfarer Act specifically denies the RCM the authority to demand anyone's operator license. It's a little-known fact among us law officials.
Wait, exactly how little known is this fact?
I was just being polite. Even school children know the Wayfarer Act.
Let's see. Makes sense. I guess, look at me.
No need to resort to self-pity, detective. You can still ask for her passport.
Yes, I'm going to need to see your passport.
Of course.
Let's see. The woman is silent, smiling while the waves lap against the hull. In your hand, under the plastic, a blue light passport saying Republic of Vesper. The coat of arms has a lion and an ostrich sergeant. The Republic of Vesper, formerly the Republic of Vesper Messina, was once a dual kingdom. An amicable parting of ways produced two constitutional monarchies. Vesper, the richer of the two, is an occidental nation known for its proximity to the Pale and its exotic financial derivatives. Anything else? It is a stable country, and yet there has always been something ominous about its perfect stability. Its place at the edge of the Mundi Isola, overlooking the Ubisunt Isles, factoring into the great unrest of the Pale. The woman, born in the year 3 in the commerce of Revachol, smiles at you, face adorned with frown lines and crow's feet. The photo is recent. The name reads Joyce Messier. Your name is Joyce?
Yes. But please don't call me that.
Why is that?
Joyce is much more efficient.
You're from the Republic of Vesper.
My husband is. I have dual citizenship. A Vespertine is handier when traveling.
Alright then. Let's see. I think I have a handle on the boat thing.
Good.
Let's see here. What can you tell me about this strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Wait, what if I want to hear about trade secrets?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Emergencies Act of Trade and Light. Alright, well then how do I repeal it then?
Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the Coalition. Unfortunately for you, the Coalition also leases you the right to police West Revachol. But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
Alright, what's your role in this precisely?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Oh, you mean Measurehead?
Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead.
Oh yeah, I beat the shit out of that guy. It was funny. How were the talks going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
Oh, why am I not surprised?
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
What happened to this Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Not cool.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
All right. Well, then what were their demand? What are the demands this time?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
I don't know what to think about that.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Okay, wow, that's...
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
That's pretty funny, I gotta admit there. Thinking...
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution.
Well, what are you gonna do then?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
Oh, man, yeah, literally, yeah, call me tomorrow.
This checks out.
Yep. And so then he starts complaining about the scabs, but... the scabs at the gate, did you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
So they're not affiliated with you then?
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Alright, fair enough. What do you think of alright, well, what do you think of Everard, other than the fact that he needs to go on a diet?
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Really? Because it kind of came out to me as an opportunistic asshole.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
That's Everard, alright.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
I remember hearing something about this Edgar.
Have you seen him?
No.
Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
So, literally, the only difference between the two is just that one of them has a bad eye.
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
Yeah, like I thought. Opportunistic piece of shit. What about the union itself, outside the Brothers Clare?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
Let's see.
Remember,
Yeah.
the Debarders are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, Detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Debarders Union is...
Well, let's see. I could see that well, they were established for good intentions, but the Everard brothers have turned it into something. Well, yeah. Let's see. An effective advocate for the rights of local working men, only to be exploited by the Clare brothers. A giant leech sucking the life out of Revachol.
Indeed. And a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers.
One more thing. You said something happened in the elections.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Some kind of extortion, no doubt.
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a Union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Noted.
Thank you for your concern, man. We'll be just fine.
That's all I need here. Let's change the topic.
Of course. How else can I help?
What can you tell me about the lynching specifically?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective?
Remember when my partner told you that I recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
It's possible. After a night of heavy drinking, I lost all the memory of my life in the world.
Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
Yeah, like asking for basic information, yeah.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Fair enough.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Okay, let's give it a roll here. Let's see, how do I negotiate my way out of this? +1 sympathy for my amnesia, so let's roll them bones.
She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuate.
Surely there's some other way to demonstrate our law enforcement credentials?
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Like what?
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason.
So yeah, the Union keeps the drug trade under wraps.
They're profiting from this trade.
Exactly.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones.
Sounds fair enough.
You can recover your badge, though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Excuse us for a moment, ma'am. Let's see, nothing there. Let's see. Joyce's info on the lynching. There's something she wants to tell you. You must have to present her with your badge to hear it. Or perhaps you did her a favor, she would waive off the formality. Whatever the case, you need to know what she knows. Let's see. The 15th Indo tribe. Wild Pines, Field, Corpus, Tricentennial, Villiers, and La Salle. Names of Revacholian Indo tribes spring into your mind. Set loose at the mention of Wild Pines. Royal monopolies, octopuses, and swordfish. Most of them gone now. YBP, Expander, St. Baptiste, Brightest Star, LUM, Resplendent, East Insulindic, Welter, and Eclipsate. But isn't one missing? Wait, no. There are only 14. Then why do you feel like that there was a 15th Indo tribe? Alright, well, I'll get on to the 15th Indo tribe later, but first, volumetric shit compressor needs to be installed. Let's see here. Alright.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
How did you hope it would go then?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchmen.
Oh, so we're her henchmen now.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
What do you propose, that we don't investigate the drug trafficking?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we're siding with the Union, or that we're on their take. We'd never hear the end of it.
So yeah, it's a mutually beneficial plan.
What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching.
We could just, find my badge.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large, and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
Point taken.
You could request a new one from the station, but that would literally take months.
Let's get back to her then.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see.
All around you, rain keeps falling down. On the wooden boards she's standing on, and on the water around you.
Neither do I.
Very rugged. Good choice. Now, I suspect you had questions. Nothing like talking to pass a rainy day. Am I right?
Alright. Okay, tell me about this alleged drug trafficking.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samaran Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
So let me get this straight. The materials come from Samara to Revachol through the terminal.
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
Under the table,
We're
obviously.
in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
And you want us to investigate.
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
So, who's this weak link then?
The lorries. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers, well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they are vulnerable.
Ooh, I see. So we get one of these lorry drivers to talk. I know just the one.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
Our apple
I'll
vendor.
be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Let's see. Why didn't you come to the RCM earlier?
We did, on more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
So bureaucracy is to blame then.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
It's no coincidence the lorries are stranded there like that, is it?
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the trade committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
Alright, what proof do you have that the union's
How
involved?
do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
Right, fair enough.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
So you think the strike is being funded with source ingredients for drugs?
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
Or one that we can torture and just make him squeal. We already have some suspicions that one of the drivers was present at the lynching.
The two might even be connected.
Or not. Though, if you have evidence to the contrary, I'm eager to hear it.
As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job is done.
Alright, I made up my mind about the smuggling investigation.
Yes?
We'll take this case, probe the drivers, and see what it yields.
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
Thanks. By the way, we've talked to Everard Clare.
You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare?
Finally, time to choose sides.
Let's see. Let's see. I like him. Yeah, no, I didn't. A beautiful man, beautiful and just. Hell no. Hero of the workers' movement, the champion I sworn fealty. Oh, hell no. Bloated rainbow socialist. Could do business with him. For a socialist, he's reasonable. He's not. Let's see. Alright. Let's see. I didn't.
Oh, come on now. He has his uses. How else would he have stayed in power all these years? Or wait, actually, corruption. That's how he's done it. Fantastic, Verm-like corruption, reaching into the bowels of the earth.
The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy. I hope you understand. The RCM does not pick sides.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt Verm myself. However, if you felt like discussing something, how could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
Tell her she'll like you for it.
I'd rather talk about something else for now, if you don't mind.
Of course, Detective. Should something come up later down the road, don't be afraid to drop by for a chat. Until then, Is there anything I can help you with?
You seem smart. I need someone to give me a lowdown on this reality we're in.
This reality?
Let's see. It's related to that medical episode. I have trouble remembering even the most basic terms.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Alright, let's see here. Where are we?
We're in Martinez, baby.
Baby?
A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed.
I'm a disco holdover myself.
Aren't we all?
And what is Martinet?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour. North of the 881 and Jamrock.
Oh, finally, we're getting some information
You
here.
would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Tell me more about Martinet.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
Sounds sad. You mentioned a sea. What sea is this?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean.
Are we near the ocean?
Yes. We're on an island in an ocean. The world's largest body of water. The Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the blue immensities. Vast, lukewarm and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight.
What's the name of this island?
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed over pebble amidst a great blue sea. Misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the delta of this river on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her.
Let's see. Okay, let's continue. Okay, that's Martinez. What's Revachol?
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city.
What kind of city is Revachol?
The great kind.
As if it's self-explanatory, beyond patriotism, a fact.
What makes Revachol great?
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries.
Okay, who built the city?
The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile-Marat, depending on your creed.
When was Revachol built?
In the DeLorean century. 380 years ago.
Wait, the DeLorean century? Oh my god! This was made by Doc Brown and Morty! Great Scott! Okay, why will this resolve history then?
They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men.
Why here?
We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is.
So, we're on the periphery. Basically, so, we're in an unimportant part of an important place, then. So, no, basically at the center of the world. The conflict, ideological conflicts.
Oh, we're quite a way off. About 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
I don't know any of this.
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
But won't I be lazy if I don't do it all now?
Oh, of course not. You are already diligent for getting this far, and diligent boys remember where they left off.
Indeed. I'm always at your service.
Alright. What times are these?
These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Too late for what?
For the big time.
The smile of a predator. No doubt what she's got in mind.
You've got a predatory streak.
All men are predators, dear. Nothing much to be done about that. It's all a matter of where you get to file your teeth.
What's the big time then?
Revolution.
Huh. And what is this revolution I keep hearing about?
Quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
Would you say it was a bunch of apes duking it out?
Why, of course. We're talking Duke Out Central. Full swing, intra-species warfare.
And the apes? Were they evil?
No. I would say the apes were neutral.
Okay. Neutral.
On the other hand,
Who got shot in the head?
those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed.
Did the communists and the anarchists shoot back?
Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Truly a kerfuffle.
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it.
I had a deluge too. In my head.
Yes, an acute thiamine deficiency can be exacerbated by alcoholism. Exacerbated means made worse.
I figured that. Anyone else get shot in the head on the opposing side?
Lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ.
Or all three.
It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
Cowardly.
I prefer the term risk-averse. King Guillaume was nobody's fool. He could smell a PR disaster brewing, so he got out alive, and his nephew Fricelle got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time.
Who got the mineral rights in the
The
end?
liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything.
Okay, by liberals you mean...
Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well.
How'd the liberals win it all?
They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
If everyone got shot, who was there to surrender to?
To foreign intervention. The Coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights.
Wait, you just said the liberals already took everything.
The Liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The Coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people.
So who are the coalition?
The Coalition of Nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-la-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
Moralist, eh?
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government.
The rulers of Revachol. And also, the world. These guys are strong.
This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
Let's see. If always picking the option that doesn't commit to anything, then... not just technically, practically. For a moment, there was hope. I don't think I'm a moralist, ma'am.
Of course. Not easy to be moderate about head shooting in your line of work.
Then, when was this kerfuffle?
The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02, on the Grad Isola. Though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved.
Who started it?
It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Marzolf came along and overthrew the government.
What did this Zara do?
It made people overthrow their governments.
Wow, really?
Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark.
Where exactly did it spread from
From
there?
Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Marzolf's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end.
What came
Why?
next?
You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
Our lives are very different from each other.
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think.
What's this zone of
A
control?
city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the citizens' militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune.
What happened in the rest of the world?
Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-eastlery communication, telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
It's been like this for how long exactly?
43 years. Hard to fathom, I know.
What have we been doing all this time?
The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river level, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. 08 to 19 was simply hell.
And after that?
The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere.
Were they?
No. It was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash. An Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are. Welcome to reality, baby.
What would you have done differently? What would you have done differently?
Question. What would you have done differently?
Let's see. I asked you. Who are you in all this?
I asked you. Past-less detective of the Citizens Militia. What insight has acute encephalopathy given to you?
Here's some wisdom, lady. Say the death thing.
I would have sought a medical solution. Sounds like Zariah drove those people mad.
A cold creeps up your spine, reaching its tendrils up your neck, toward the back of your head.
So a quarter of humanity simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion? A complex folding protein, unlife, with a technology 50 years ago.
Let's see. With some hygiene, modest social care, or perhaps a little research program? Or with private... No, not privatized. Let's see. With some hygiene, modest social care, and perhaps a little research program.
The wind stops, and for a moment, there's silence. The charge dissipates into the dark water. All is quiet on the Martinez inlet.
There is peace in the heart.
Good hygiene. Really. A very moderate solution to an extreme problem. It's those sort of half measures that doomed the authorities in Grad. When they failed to step up, Marzov and his party stepped in. In this particular case, maybe a more robust state response might have been appropriate.
But that would have also been maybe using a cannon to hunt a rabbit.
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM.
And what is your official position, Lieutenant?
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Understandable.
I've had enough about the times.
They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
That's all for now. Conclude for now, yeah?
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
Thank you. That's all for now.
Of course, Detective. Take care.
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate, political opinions somewhere in Martinez.
It's me, Mr. Reasonable. Someone's got to keep it sane around here.
The air suddenly feels calmer, more transparent in a strangely tender way. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin. But something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience.
Hold on a second. So I got another option here. Alright, I'll mull it over in my head. Until next time, folks, this is David on David's Brain. See you when I see you. Bye-bye.